This title is narrated with virtual voice, computer-generated narration for audiobooks. Testimony of a Death. Thelma Todd, Mystery, Media, and Myth in 1935, Los Angeles, by Marshall Crotty and Patrick Jenning. Introduction. Who doesn't love a mystery? All the more when the solution is hidden in time or controversy. History is full of such conundrums: the death of Napoleon, the assassinations of Lincoln and Kennedy, the identity of Jack the Ripper, the disappearances of Amelia Earhart and Jimmy Hoffa, the fate of D.B. Cooper, the Borden murders. Within an almost timeless netherworld of intrigue, kings and queens, czars and czarinas, pretenders and heirs apparent, the famous and infamous move to their real or apparent fates at Mylene or Yekaterinburg or over the South Pacific. In their wakes, the ripples of mystery, rather than dissipating with time, seem to strengthen, assuming archetypal form. He didn't commit suicide, he was murdered. She didn't die, she escaped. It wasn't a lone gunman, but was a conspiracy at the highest level. Enduring mysteries share one common feature. All excite the public's imagination when the event first occurs, whether because of the nature of the act or because it involved a famous person. Often, the event that becomes the mystery serves as a milestone in the lives of ordinary people. Where were you when you heard Kennedy had been shot or Marilyn Monroe found dead? While most present unique challenges to the institutions charged with investigating or interpreting the event, the police, the press, and the court, many grow in mystery over time. These events can escape the confines of the original solution, aided by obsessed amateurs who clumsily wield the weapons of science and history, muddying and deepening the mystery as they try to resolve it. Once the great mysteries centered on the deaths of royals and aristocrats, but beginning in the 1920s, the deaths of Hollywood celebrities often became the focus. Perhaps because of the nature of their profession, the deaths of actors tend toward the mysterious. Courted by the camera, they achieve apparent immortality, their youth preserved by film, lighting, makeup, and cosmetic surgery, their personalities enhanced by the persona of every character they play. Youthful death is antithetical to their profession and leaves their fans with a feeling of betrayal, especially when the death tends towards the ridiculous rather than the sublime. We do not want to believe them capable of succumbing to the garden variety of deaths that come to many of us, through falls and car accidents, heart attacks, or rapidly developing illness, or the random violence of the street. Perhaps because they seem to live outside the monotony of life and the limitations that hamper most of us, we want to believe their deaths also implied some greater significance. Larger in their lives, they must also be larger in their deaths. Thelma Todd's death in 1935 became one of Hollywood's famous mysteries because she was a beautiful and popular young comedienne. The mystery has endured not so much because Todd's reputation has endured, but because the riddle of her death is so complete. Murder, suicide, or accident, the trio of unnatural causes that every coroner must face with every corpse, was not determined definitively at the time or since. This is not to say that her death hasn't generated a number of detectives and at least an equal number of solutions. But nobody has come forth with an explanation of the actress's death that compels belief, or one that, at the minimum, is not loaded with egregious factual and interpretative errors. At one point, it was the purpose of the authors of this book to offer just such a theory, one that would close the Todd case forever. As our research progressed, however, it became clear that the Todd mystery is nearly perfect. None of the primary explanations, murder, suicide, or accident, and none of the specific theories, murder, by whom, suicide, why, accident, how, are decisive. With the deaths of most of the participants in the events surrounding Todd's death, and the weakening memories of those who still live, the possibility of finding the answer to the Todd riddle has become more and more elusive.
Para seguir escuchando este audiolibro gratuitamente, haz clic en el enlace de la descripción y podrás escucharlo completo sin coste gracias a la prueba de 30 días de Audible.